Well, this rather intriguing little Overtype model steam engine was a recent purchase off of eBay. I was quite intrigued by this because I wasn't sure then, and I'm not sure now, whether this is a commercially made model steam engine or this has been fabricated in a home shop. I'm tending to lean towards possibly commercially made, although I don't recognise it, and I certainly wouldn't be able to give you a manufacturer's name. But I think it was probably produced in the UK. There's nothing about it which says European, German manufacturer or American. I think this is probably made in the UK. But yeah, it's a very intriguing little engine, and we'll close in on it a bit. There's more of an overhead view. It all rotates, it's nice and free. Solid, it looks like probably cast iron flywheel. Nice brass piston, oscillating cylinder. Let's move it around. Now obviously I think there should be a chimney on here. Possibly with the exhaust pipe coming out of here and going into it, but there's nothing to indicate that there was ever anything soldered to the engine plate here for the exhaust. But I like the way that the entire frame that holds the engine plate, the cylinder, flywheel, crankshaft is actually supported by these brass plates at the side, which are bolted to the base plate. It's quite an interesting way of doing this. The other interesting thing is that the main base plate of the engine has been screwed onto a piece of, I think this is Paxilin. It certainly smells like Paxilin. Paxilin has a unique stink to it, particularly when you cut it or machine it. But that, I think, is a Paxilin base, which has obviously been added to make it possibly a little bit more steady when it's run. But yeah, it's an intriguing engine. So this one will get the full strip down and clean up. I'll take it all apart. It looks like it comes apart fairly easily. I may have to desolder the steam pipe, but other than that, everything else is. It should come apart really easily, and then clean it all up and put it back together again. But yeah, an intriguing little engine. So let's get on and do the work. Time to get the little engine stripped down. Now I've made a bit of an assumption. As I said, I believe that this is a British made engine, so I've got my box of BA spanners here. Hopefully that will be what all these nuts and screws are. Now I've given every nut I could find a good old dosage of penetrating oil, and hopefully it will come apart quite nicely. But at some point I'm going to have to unsolder this pipe, because obviously I can't get the engine frame off without doing that. But first things first, take out. Oh dear, yes. Well, that's obviously going to need a serious soak in vinegar. But at the state of that, not good. Okay. Again, I said before that I wasn't really sure whether this was commercially made or homemade in a shop, but you know, the more you look at it, you know, things like the tension to, I mean, like the little knurled nut which holds the spring in place on the cylinder shaft. You'd think normally if it was like a homemade thing, it would probably just be a nut, you know, and the piston, the cylinder seems to be, you know, quite well machined. Yeah, nice piston as well, got a groove in it, everything. So yeah, you know, it's all quite nice. Now I'm not quite sure how this the flywheel. I mean, I would imagine that the flywheel is probably the crankshaft is screwed into the flywheel. It's certainly very tight. So I'll get some grips on that and see whether we can shift it. Okay, so this is the setup I've got. As always, using worn out belt sander belts to protect the things you're trying to grip. This generally works really well, and I obviously use it on the, you know, as sort of temporary soft jaws in the lathe, but it works for things like mold grips and pliers as well. So, yeah, so let's see if we can give this a turn. Oh, yeah, something's moving. Good. Not quite sure what's unscrewing here. Looks like the crankshaft isn't moving, but the pulley is. Well, that's allowed me to get this pulley off, but it wasn't threaded, it was just a push fit. We still can't get the crankshaft out because there's this sleeve here. So we'll see if we can remove that. Yeah, the sleeve is loose as well. It's just a bit of, tiny little bit of brass tube there. So we should now be able to remove this. Aha! Excellent. Again, I'm not sure whether that's threaded into there, but we can look at that later. All right, so let's have a look at, see if we can get these screws out. What have I got here? 6BA. Yeah, 6BA it is. Good. Obviously, this is even more of an indication now that this is a British-made engine. See if we can get this one off. Oh, good, they're not too tight. That's excellent. Well, either that or the penetrating oil's done its job. Okay, so this is now all free. Let's see. I think probably the next thing is to remove the base from the Paxilin, and then I can get at these screws here. So, okay. Well, these aren't even tight. Looks like they're threaded into the Paxilin. Can't quite know why someone's used such huge, great long screws for that, but yeah, there we go. Okay, let's remove that. We don't really need that bit anymore. So, what size are these then? These 6BA. Oh, they're 6BA as well. Oh, excellent. That's really useful. We've got to bolt through the firebox on this side. Ah, there we go. There's the individual straps. One, second one. So that's now free. Firebox should be free at this stage, I would have thought. Doesn't appear to be anything else holding it on. Interesting. Okay. Oh, I see. Someone has soldered it. I don't know much where you can see that in there, but someone has soldered it. Get a pointy stick. It looks like it's been soldered there and there, and possibly in the corners as well. Yeah, so it's been soldered on. Okay, fine. No, that's not a problem. Right, so all I've got to do now then is just desolder that pipe, and we should have that frame off. Well, that actually unsoldered very easily. I think it's only been soft soldered onto the engine frame there. So next stage is need to get a few bits and pieces. I'm going to probably put the boiler in a vinegar bath, and also the flywheel and crankshaft that might get some of that paint off. And obviously the safety valve, which is completely gummed up with rust and scale. So yeah, and then of course we'll have to disassemble this, hopefully get that unsoldered off there, and to get that all cleaned up and the brass all cleaned up. But yeah, there's not really an awful lot of work to do on this, so right, let me get on with it.